Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to another video. And today we are gonna talk about my 2018 Harley Davidson Road King. As most of you may know, no bike is actually perfect. There's gonna be good things and of course not so good things, I should say. Oh, that road is closed. I was gonna ride straight through there. I guess I'm gonna go this way then. Alright, talking about pros and cons with a motorcycle. Now the Road King here is no different. Obviously I love it, that's the reason why I purchased it. But likewise, there are things that I don't really like about it. I'm not gonna say hate. I'm not gonna say there are things that I hate about it, because hate can be such a strong word. But there are things I definitely do not like about it. So in this video, I'm gonna tell you those things. I believe there's about 4 or 5 of them that I want to tell you about, and I'm also gonna tell you the reason why, sort of explain my my stance, my position, my view on them, and why I don't like them, why I might even say I kind of hate them. There's one that I really hate. The other ones are just things that I don't like, and these things are in no particular order except for the first one, which I'm definitely gonna say that's the one I hate. I definitely hate it. But the good thing is though, Harley Davidson actually just recently changed that in the 2021 model year bike. That is definitely a good thing. It shows that Harley is listening to its customers and definitely working to improve things where improvements are needed. Number one is the clutch. Now I don't really know if I should narrow it down to the clutch lever, the master cylinder, or the slave cylinder. You know, I'm just gonna say the clutch, the entire system. I think it's terrible, it's awful, it's bad, and I'll explain exactly what I mean. So to begin with, the friction zone on this bike. Now I believe it might be the same thing for all the other bikes, like the other touring models with the same clutch system, but I can't really say for sure because I haven't been on that many touring models with the hydraulic clutch system. But anyways, the issue with it is that the friction zone, to begin with, is really far out. So far out that you almost let go completely of the lever by the time it engages. Now you may think, well, what's the issue with that? Well, until you actually have to ride this bike in a heavy slow traffic where you're practically just riding the friction zone, where you constantly sort of like pulling in the clutch a little bit and letting it go a little bit, you don't know what I'm talking about. But once you do, once you've been through that, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Because believe it or not, this clutch, even though it is hydraulic, it's not the easiest clutch to pull. And basically having to hold this lever with practically the tip of your fingers, it gets really tiring on these guys really quickly. And the other thing that I don't like about it is that the sensor that tells the bike when the clutch is pulled in, I don't know if there's a way to calibrate it, but it's really, I want to say it's far out, or should I say far in. Well, let me just explain what I mean. So if the bike, let's say, I'm gonna pull over somewhere so I can demonstrate what I'm talking about. Anyways, here's what I mean. So let's say I shut off the bike, bam, and I put it in gear. Now if I try to start it, for safety reason, it's not gonna start. Obviously we all know that. But if I pull in the clutch, it should start. And here's what happens. Technically, let's say if I'm pulling the clutch, until the clutch lever is up to about right here, I'm not gonna get anything. It's not gonna start. So it's kind of annoying if you're looking at, I'm gonna place my finger right here, okay, So look at all the distance that the clutch lever has to travel before the bike will actually start. Technically, that should be where the clutch engages and disengages, but we all know that's not the case, because technically the clutch doesn't engage up until about right here. So that is annoying, especially since I always like to use 2 fingers to clutch so that I can keep 2 fingers on the bars. But right now, for example, let's say I'm pulling in with 2 fingers, right? If I try to start the bike, the clutch is not far enough and the bike will not start. I kind of hate that. I wish the sensor was set a little different to where it would allow me to start the bike with the clutch lever right here. Alright, let's get back on the road. So the clutch really is the one that I would say I hate. Now, the next thing on the list is actually the exhaust. Now, I don't hate the exhaust by any means. I just think that Harley Davidson could do a better job putting a better exhaust in a bike that costs that much. I'd rather pay a few $100 more up front if Harley would just put a better exhaust in it, instead of having to get the bike with this type of exhaust that really, in my opinion, doesn't sound good at all and is too quiet. I think that Harley Davidson could have definitely put a better exhaust on the bike out of the factory, even if that means they would have had to charge us a few $100 more. And I'll be honest with you, I would have paid it for a better exhaust instead of getting what's on the bike right now, because technically if you want the bike to sound good, you're gonna have to change it either way, and to get a good exhaust system, it's definitely gonna cost you some pretty penny. So come on, Harley, you can do it. All right, number 3 is actually the weight of the bike. As you guys may know, the Road King, not just the Road King, the Harley Touring line, actually the Road King is the lightest in the Touring line, and it is not a light bike. I would say yes, it is a heavy bike. Now, of course, I know the bike has to be heavy for the type of bike that it is, to have that big engine, that big frame, everything. I know it comes with it, but I just wish the bike was lighter. And I think the engine is definitely to blame, because it's a big giant pile of mass metal. I don't know, maybe now that Harley has this new Revolution Max engine, maybe they'll try to stick it into some touring bike and bring the weight down a little bit. Who knows if they'll do that or not? I don't know. The fourth thing is actually the seat. Now, I'm gonna be honest, the seat on the Road King, it's comfortable, but it's not as comfortable as it should be, because again, this is a touring bike. It's a bike that's made for taking super long distances. It's a bike that's made to ride cross country if you want to, and I believe the seat should reflect that. In my case, and maybe it's my butt, I'm gonna be honest, maybe my butt got something wrong with it and it just, it's picky, but the seat is definitely not the best seat. I feel way more comfortable on my 86 Goldwing seat, even though it's a 30-some-year-old seat now. I still feel way more comfortable on it than I do on the Road King seat. All right, and the last thing that I'm gonna talk about today is going to be the cost of ownership of the Road King. Now, this isn't specific to the Road King, it's really just Harley Davidson. And really, if I'm gonna be honest, it's not just Harley Davidson as a motorcycle brand. I think it's the same thing with cars and other motorcycle brands. Like, once you start getting into the premium luxury, whatever type or class, I should say, the cost of ownership start getting to be a bit more expensive because maintenance is gonna be a lot more, and I don't want to say they're gonna be more frequent, but there might be some tedious maintenance tasks that you have to complete at some certain intervals and everything. That's definitely gonna cost you money. And I will be honest, with Harley Davidson, that is no different. Like, parts, accessories, and service, they do cost you more. Now, I'm not complaining about this by any means, especially since I do my own maintenance on the bike. Really, all I have to deal with is parts. I don't really have to. This thing is sounding like my my other bike. It's just a car with a bad muffler. It's funny, the other day I was over at a throttle company, and Nicole and I were chatting about this. You know, a car with bad muffler. From a distance you think it's a bike, and you're like, oh my god, what kind of bike is this? What kind of bike is this? You're listening to see if you can identify it, and then it drives by and you're like, oh, it's a car with bad muffler. Anyways, back to the topic. So yeah, these are the things that I wish was different about the Road King. I did mention really briefly that Harley Davidson took care of the clutch issue. So starting with the 2021 models, all of them now ship with a standard cable clutch, which I think is fantastic. It's either, you know, now I don't know if they should have just fixed the hydraulic clutch, or replace it back with the cable, kind of like what they did. So to be honest with you, I don't know which is the better of the two options, but as long as we're not dealing with that hydraulic clutch that I have in my 2018 Road King, I'm happy, even though I'm still stuck with mine until I can come up with something, which is a topic for another video, talking about the mods that I gotta do to this bike. And doing something to the clutch is definitely gonna be number one, so that I can remedy this issue, or at least try to remedy it. So to summarize, guys, it's definitely the clutch, the exhaust, the seat, the weight, and of course the cost of ownership, maintenance, repair, and all that. Aside from that, Road King, it's a great bike. I love it, and that's why I own one. So thanks again for watching the video, guys. If you own a Road King yourself and you got some different stuff that you don't like about it, share them, let me know. All right, with that being said, guys, if you're out there riding, as always, ride safe, and I will see you in the next one.